transition into outbound, as I mentioned before, I want to briefly touch on all the digital tactics, but I really want to focus on the benefits of email and nurturing specifically. So first up, email. Now, if you're like most people, judging by the size of your inbox, it's easy to think of email as spam. But email is still really a marketing powerhouse. It's one of the most effective methods of communication in terms of return on investment. And according to the Economist Intelligence Unit, email is ranked #1 as the preferred method of communication by consumers. But you have to remember, competing for sustained attention in the cluttered inbox is no fun. So today I want to focus on 2 of the best methods for email marketing, which are behavior-triggered emails and automated programs or lead nurturing. Trigger email is essentially an email that is triggered by an action or even a lack of action. Basically, you're triggering an email to be sent out to one person based on something that they have done or haven't done. So maybe they visited a key page of your website that indicates a product interest. Maybe they abandoned a shopping cart, or you notice that they've been viewing the same page, over and over and over. But remember, every business is different, so it's really important for you to look at how your audience is different and how your prospects are exploring your products. So to help you get started, you should look at where your prospects are self-identifying interest and product needs. Is it a specific topic they keep viewing in different formats? Is it a specific video they keep coming back to? And then after you figure that out, identify where along the process they have to make a decision to either proceed or not proceed onto the next phase of that buying journey. So sometimes it's as simple as, a shopping cart or checkout process. But if you're in the B2B world, it can be a bit more complex. So for example, is it when they're on a form to set an appointment with a sales rep or to view a demo? Or is it when they're viewing, say, the pricing page on your website? You just have to, take some time and, think things through of when they have to make a decision in their purchase journey to interact or not to interact. And then once you've identified those areas, you can create messages that directly relate to your prospect's interests and trigger the emails for the exact moment they've taken the actions you've identified as your trigger. And the beauty of that is that you're using their digital body language as the basis for forming the messaging to prompt action. So here on the screen, we actually have an example of that we use here at Outbound. We have a list of prospects that we're actively watching and trying to get to engage. So we're watching that list, and any time that anyone on that list visits key pages on our website, the message is triggered. And it's a very simple message. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's just saying, hey, you peeked at our website. You should be taking a deeper look at Outbound. Here's a quick video. So this has been really successful for us with over a 50% open rate. And that's honestly not surprising when you look at stats out there. According to eMarketer, trigger emails statistically have higher open rates and higher click-through rates than traditional one-off email messages because you're triggering that message when the prospect is actively engaged. The next type of email that I want to talk about is nurturing. So let's start defining why you would need a lead nurturing program, which is essentially a series of emails that are triggered at specific points in time. 50% of leads, according to Gleanster research, are qualified but are not yet ready to buy. So these are people that are qualified and that at some point are going to make a purchase, but at the time that they come in, they are not yet ready to buy. So lead nurturing is allowing us to gradually warm those leads up over time. If you're in the B2B space, this is something that is particularly relevant because if you have a longer sales cycle, that number might even be higher. Oftentimes, when a lead comes in and they aren't ready to buy, like I said before, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're never going to buy, but you don't want to ignore them. You want to nurture them and warm them up so that then they are ready to buy, that you're staying top of mind and they reach out to you when it comes time for them to buy or to look more closely into a solution. And lead nurturing is not all about making the hard sell. And that is coming later once they're qualified and warmed up. Nurturing is just all about educating and responding to their needs and building trust through the series of emails that you're providing. So if you're sending highly targeted messages based on different layers of data you're collecting, like segmenting on buyer personas and the different stages they're at, in their purchasing journey, you can do that very, very effectively. The best advice I can give for lead nurturing is really to map it out. So you might be noticing a theme here is, it takes a little bit of planning and a little bit of, mapping out. But even if you just do a quick whiteboarding session to visualize the paths that a prospect could take, that could help. On screen here is an example of a sample of a lead nurturing program. And seeing all of this, visually, I think makes it much easier to determine what your decision steps should be and how these leads will reach sales once they've been warmed up and reach a specific score threshold that you've designated as a tipping point for encouraging sales, that they're ready for someone to reach out and have a more serious conversation. Another outbound tactic is retargeting ads. Retargeting is the process of cookiing your prospects and using a retargeting network to serve your ads to prospects on the sites they are visiting. And this even includes websites that are not your own and can even be completely unrelated in terms of topics. I'm sure many of you have even experienced this firsthand, especially this time of year, right, with the holidays coming up. So the benefits to retargeting are pretty great because you can achieve a higher ROI than with regular website ads. This is because you're able to control who you want to see your ads, so you can target your known prospects or even go as far as to serve ads to anyone who has visited a particular page on your site. CMO.com released a stat that showed retargeting to boost ad response by 400%, which is huge. And the reason the engagement is higher is because it's relevant. Even if your prospects know who you are, which they probably do, it's going to take multiple exposures to move a prospect closer to the purchasing action, and retargeting is allowing you to do just that. It gives you that additional exposure that you really need. Video marketing. I want to move to that. In video marketing, I think video is becoming bigger and bigger here today. It's highly versatile because it can be used in both inbound and outbound. And it's gaining popularity as it's more commonly used in ad programs, and it has been an integral part of some organizations' content marketing plans, which we talked about before. But today, I want to focus on how video can be utilized in your outbound strategy to help you increase that engagement with your prospects. So when you think of video marketing at its core, it's designed to help increase education about your product or service and to promote your brand, which is going to be very similar to the goals just in general of outbound marketing. You want to educate and engage known prospects with relevant information so they're more likely to consider you in their decision-making process. According to Digital Sherpa, video helps increase people's understanding of your product or service by 74%, which is why it can make a huge impact in increasing the conversion rates of your outbound tactics. Video can help provide a deeper level of understanding and education, and the viewing activity can tell you a lot about your prospects. So with technology today, you can set up alerts so your sales team is aware when one of your prospects has watched a video, and you can tell exactly how much of that video has been viewed, so sales has a better understanding of how to start their conversation. There are some video hosting platforms that integrate with marketing automation, so all of that video activity also can become something that you can factor into your segmentation. You can also use video to increase engagement with other pieces of content, using maybe like a call to action pop-up in relevant sections of your videos. So for example, say Act On is using a customer testimonial video. Maybe we're doing this, say, in a nurturing program for prospects that are moving from the nurture to convert stage of that buying journey. The customer is explaining how much they love our A/B testing feature. So we can set up a call to action that allows the prospect to download an ebook on how to conduct an A/B test while they're actually viewing the video. So that makes, video is becoming another channel that you can use not only to educate about your product or service, but also as another method to promote other pieces of content to stimulate that engagement. The last outbound tactic that I'm going to touch on today is account-based marketing, which really brings together all of the best practices that we've discussed today. Account-based marketing, for those of you that might not be familiar, is a strategic approach to engaging companies who are similar to some of your top-tier customers. It's similar to developing buyer personas, but instead of focusing on the individuals within a company, you're developing personas for companies to create targeted lists of named accounts. So to do this, you'll look for commonalities like employee size or geographical location or revenue or industry, or even competitors, I would say, to your current customers. And then identify a list of companies that fit the criteria you've selected. And then once you have that targeted account list developed, you can begin focusing all of your marketing activities on engaging these named accounts using all of the tactics and tools that we've discussed today. And if you happen to use third parties to help with lead generation, you can even provide these lists to them so they can begin serving your content to these accounts as well, which will expand your reach.